What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lue Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. I am your host, Luis Jimenez. Please save the like for halfway through the show, but if you haven't already, subscribe, share, ring the bell. That way you're notified anytime we go live. If you want to support with the almighty dollar, we've got super chats. We've got links in the description below. You can do that. Check them out. So today, just an Ask Me Anything. There's not a ton of news going on. A couple things here and there. Some really hilarious news about the Lue Elizondo US tour, so we'll get into that. We've got a couple other things that I tagged here, but nothing crazy. So I figured, hey, let's open it up to the people. If you noticed, up below in the live chat, we've got a link to a StreamYard. So if you want to come in here, ask questions, like a phone call, you can. You're not going to be on camera, so you're more than welcome to do that. You can put your question in all caps here. Hopefully I won't miss it, like this one. Right here. From Fifi Barbora. Question, do you have cats? We're a cat? Cats are awesome. I agree, cats are awesome. Unfortunately, I cannot have a cat because Michelle is allergic. So there's that, but we're looking into hyperallergenic dogs. I love dogs. I love cats. I love both. So I hope that answers your question. Hello to everyone else in the chat. Pinzer Lou, thank you for re-upping to the only level that we have here on the Lue Reviews channel. Breeder Syndicate, thanks for being here, buddy. Being our awesome mod. Simon Fly, who released, if you guys don't know, Simon Fly has a YouTube channel. Go check it out. He makes some pretty great music videos about the UFO subculture, and pretty great tracks. So maybe we'll check out one of those today. Remind me, Simon, to go check out your page, and we'll go listen to your latest drop, which I thought was hilarious. Dave B, what's going on? Pat Calabria, yo, where is my... Oh, where's my pause button? That's really the question here. There we go. I was saying welcome to the show, Pat Calabria. Sandra McDonald. There she is, Sandra McDonald. All the way in Australia. Thank you for being here. I know it's early over there. 6:59 a.m. to be exact. Did I miss anybody? Clip's here, of course. Always here. Thank you for being here, Flarky. Bobby Broadway. There's Flarky. I'm not here. As we refer to here as Pip. We're shaking. All right, guys. So, hold on a second. Let me, ooh, what happened here? This blew up. This wasn't supposed to blow up like that. There we go. Okay. Hopefully when we switch to the Lue Reviews studio. Yeah. Okay, great. Everything's fine. Let's see here. What is this? Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, we've got some drops here. Okay, I'll leave that as a tab open. Don't let me forget. This is great. Do me a favor, everyone. Go to the the Good Trouble Show YouTube channel, and he's got a live stream coming up tomorrow at noon with George Knapp. Oh my God. I have just finished writing a script, and some of the characters that I base these people off of are people like George Knapp and Corbell and some other folks in the community. So this is just so funny, and the timing couldn't be better. But if you guys want to go in the chat, I put Bootlicking at its finest in their chat, which you can't see on your screen, but it's there. Yeah, that was one thing I guess we could talk about today if you guys want to talk about. Again, if you have a question that you're just dying to ask me about whatever, throw it up in all caps, or you can drop a super chat, or you could join our live stream. Again, check out the pinned tweet or the pinned comment at the top of the live chat. All right. We got that all out there. Let's go to the old bookmarks. So we've got a few bookmarks today, a couple of things. Where do I start? I guess let's start with this clip right here. And we've covered this, but it's also, again, like I'm in this script writing mode. So when these clips resurface of people like Gary Nolan or old videos of Lue Elizondo, and we'll talk about and show those today. Lou, brother, do you got some Civil War vibes for your country for tomorrow? Oh, that's actually probably a good question from any foreigner's probably thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a civil war over there. No, look, man, if Trump wins, I imagine it's going to be like the exact same time he won the last time. There's going to be people that are going to be very emotionally upset about it, but I don't think anybody is taking to the streets. That's one thing this country is not good at, is protesting, and protesting with purpose. I think the only protest in recent memory that I can think of that actually moved the conversation is the longshoremen protest, where they were protesting to not come in unless they get what they wanted in their contracts. So yeah, I think, no, I don't predict civil war. I think it'll be just like it's been for the last 8 years. The same old, you're going to get it from two sides. This side is horrible. No, this side is horrible. Yeah, they're just two extremes to a bird, I guess. It's two extreme wings of a political system that in a lot of ways align on a lot of things, and the people who get screwed are us. I hope that answers your question. I don't want to get too political. I think, yeah, tomorrow's going to be it's going to be interesting. That's all I can tell you. It will be very interesting. I hope there's no election violence, but I don't know. It's America. I could be totally wrong on that. I maybe my dial on that is way off, or my thermometer rather on that is way off. I could be totally wrong on that, but yeah, I don't know. But it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a close race. But yeah, I'd say a good way to avoid trouble is don't go out and put yourself closer to it or in the middle of it, you know? So that would be my advice for election day. Go vote. Everybody go vote. You know, if you feel like you need to vote, I actually understand apathy on this election. I don't want to go vote. Neither one of these options is attractive to me at all. I will be voting third party. I've been saying that for the last year, at least. Yeah, and it's a protest to tell both parties the options you guys are putting up are not good enough. I mean, here you have one side saying, oh, this guy's Hitler, but they can't put up a candidate that distinguishes themselves enough from Hitler. Like, their candidate is so bad that they're in a tie with their, quote, Hitler. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, if he was that bad, shouldn't the candidate you guys put up be smoking him in the polls? And if he's not, or she's not, maybe the solutions you're offering aren't ringing true with your constituency. Look how far you derailed me, Blizzard. Feel the burn. Lou, brother, how about some Muga hats for merch? Make ufology great again. Okay. I was wondering, I'm like, where are you going with that? Muga. That's actually a funny shirt. Here's the thing about making shirts. Oh, is hydrogen fuel technologies? Did he have a question? This guy, dude, he's the biggest weirdo. How do you gaslight your audience so much and keep your perfect figure? I figured one would be blocked from all gaslighting. It's so adorable, this guy. Here he is commenting on my perfect figure. I've seen what you look like, buddy. Let's not throw stones in those glass houses. But how am I gaslighting my audience? The dude is such a weird ass. He's so weird. And you're obsessed with watching the show. So, I mean, either way, thanks for being here. Here's the great thing about merch, you guys. Anyone can make it. If you can make a design, even simple as text, and a lot of these drop shipping companies have the tools to make pretty much whatever you want. Dude, make them. If you make them, I will promote them on my show, but I don't want anything to do with merch. I got so many other things to worry about other than stuff like merch. I'm having a hard time keeping up with comments on the channel. You know, so it's tough, man. It's tough, you guys. Like, I've got a real world job. I'm also, taking meetings and writing scripts, which is super exciting, but it's very time consuming and tiring. And then, got to do this show. So merch, no, don't want to do merch. Just not there yet. Maybe one day. But if you do make a Muga hat, I'd buy one. Okay. So, hydrogen fuel technologies. Oh my God, it's just so funny. Okay, so let's take a couple of clips, because I always remember this when I think of Gary Nolan, and that is the whole idea that he has a belief system. He has a very well-established belief system. So if you if you're new to the channel or you've only caught me halfway into roasting Gary Nolan for something he's done or said, it's really based off of these conversations that he's had with Kurt Jaimungal, and they're little snippets, they're little windows into what happened to Gary Nolan, and why he's got such an ardent belief system to where if anyone questions it, it's met with an immediate block. And that's not even questioning him directly. If he sees, he will go into comments of people that he likes, for example, Ross Coulthart or Matt Ford or any one of these other propaganda mouthpieces that these guys have and love because they don't ask any real questions. He's going into this stuff with a belief system. In these clips, I always think of this interview when I talk about Gary Nolan and when I talk about Ross Coulthart and these guys. Like, it's all of these moments that you've accumulated over, especially since doing this show now. What is it? 2020 we started, so 4 years we've been doing this show, which is crazy. Crazy that we've been doing this show for 4 years. Yeah, that's wild. But it's, you see these moments and they become not a full puzzle, but enough of the puzzle to know, oh, this is the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, I think I could cruise through the rest of this puzzle. I get it. I see what's happening here. I see the picture. Okay, yeah, this piece. Okay, yeah, all right, got it. So let's listen to these little clips because, again, I think they're super interesting.
I had some experience. I won't go into it here. And it's not a phenomenon. Well, maybe. I don't think it's a phenomenon.
Well, and this is actually Kurt Jaimungal. Sorry. So this first clip is the guy who's interviewing him, right? Who, again, we've talked about Kurt. I think I've spoken about Kurt's blind spots, and I've had Kurt reach out to me privately and just simply thank me, just for being honest enough to share my real thoughts. And I've got a lot of respect for Kurt. But this experience, just like my experience, influences the questions you ask, or he asks and I ask, both past and present, and going forward. But it also influences your willingness to accept things as a reality because of the things you're hearing from people you respect. And I think these guys, and when I say these guys, I mean the whole the tree that at the core of it is Stanford Research Institute, Hal Puthoff, Steve Justice, who am I missing here? Eric Davis. Like, I think the core of that tree, and then you've got apples like Nolan and Elizondo and Mellon and DeLong and all of these voices, and Matt Ford is a fucking apple on this tree. And again, like this, you've got not a journalist, but an interviewer who has an experience interviewing someone he respects because of his pedigree. And it creates a really intelligent, high level echo chamber, but an echo chamber is still an echo chamber. But let's listen to Kurt's experience, and then we'll listen to Gary's experience.
Well, I had some experience. I won't go into it here. And it's not a phenomenon. Well, maybe. I don't think it's a phenomenon experience where I had to send myself to the hospital because I was typing and then I wasn't typing. And something said to me, yeah, you thought you were the one that was in control, and it was using my fingers, whatever it was, and I was freaking the heck. And then it said maybe the crazy ones aren't crazy, implying, sorry, that
So that happened to you?
yeah, and that was and I like even talking about it now works me up a bit. So anyway, I called the hospital just to say you have to come get me because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not suicidal in the least, but I don't know like why would I? And anyway, I went downstairs. I remember the police came first, and I told the police officer, I'm not going to try and grab your gun, which already freaks the police officer out. But I'm like,
Right.
well, I don't know what I'm like. I'm extremely scared right now. So please just treat me calmly and nicely because I'm in a sensitive state right now. And then they just looked at me like, okay, all right, let's just wait until the
Right.
ambulance gets here.
To the paramedics come.
Yeah, and since then, I almost never use the word crazy to refer to someone.
Yeah.
I think that that's a word of condescension, and it also automatically it also implies that one has that their frame is the correct frame, and then it also triggers me. I'm hypersensitive to this to think about what the heck is reality, and for this line of work that I'm doing right now with toe, that's all I do, and so I've had to actually stop studying consciousness for a little while because it was putting me into an extremely horrible state. And I think that anyone who thinks about consciousness or UFOs even or the phenomena and takes it seriously, that I don't know how they don't send themselves into a spiral of an unhealthy spiral.
Well, I think that's a really interesting point because I have again some friends who get
And real quick before we get into Nolan's rebuttal on this, if I'm not mistaken, before he tells that story, he prefaces it with he was under an extreme workload. He was literally at his desk working. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he also said that he had little sleep when this occurred. Okay, hearing voices in your head is not uncommon when you're under a lot of stress. And I know that there has been a lot of stress for Kurt, just simply from the advertising revenue that he lost with that a lot of podcasters had with this. I can't remember how the whole thing worked, but all of the ads that he was doing, he was supposed to be getting paid for, and then the bigger advertising company that they contracted Kurt and other podcasters didn't pay on those royalties, and it was a lot of money for some big creators that they got screwed out of, and Kurt was one of those creators. A guy with a lot of people and a lot of following, and so that combined with, I know he edits his own stuff. He timestamps everything. He does everything for that podcast, soup to nuts. And that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So, it's wild to think that you're at a computer, you hear a voice in your head, and your first instinct is to call the police and have paramedics come over. Again, it just goes to show how, and he even says it in the clip, how hyper aware he is of himself. And then he beautifully ends it with, I don't know how you can be into UFOs, believe it, and not send yourself down a spiral that is self-destructive. That is powerful. And again, that's not me saying it. That's coming from a really intelligent guy. Let's listen to what Nolan has to say, because I don't think he addresses it
so deeply into this that they do. I worry sometimes if they're not just, creating a mental world for themselves of true fantasy. And so sometimes just get back out into the real world. And again, don't follow it down the rabbit hole, because you can very easily, as you say, you can create the problem for yourself that has it's only going on in your head.
And that's interesting coming from him, especially considering how aggressive he is when defending his positions in other forums. And also to think that he creates some of this fantasy and fanaticism with the things that he says himself and the people that he backs, like Ross Coulthart and Lue Elizondo. Like, he hasn't once publicly come out and criticized any of those people. It's full bore belief. And that's the issue, right? Is they're going into it with a belief, with an experience, whether they realize it or not. I don't care how smart they are. Whether they realize it or not, that affects what they accept and then therefore share with either their audience or whoever's in front of them. But let's listen to Gary's experience.
I'll just say this. I'll just say this. This is something I haven't talked about ever publicly before. I had an experience in London once.
Keep in mind also, this is just one of many experiences that Gary Nolan has had.
That I still don't understand to this day. It was like, I don't know why this always happens at 3:00 in the morning. It's hilarious, but for a lot of people. And I woke up and my whole body.
I just have to stop it. The whole 3 a.m. lore. These aliens always come around 3 a.m. I'm a fully formed adult now, and when I think of like nothing ever good is happening at 3 a.m. Ever. It's always trouble. It's sometimes good trouble, fun trouble, but it's always shenanigans, fun, and something you probably shouldn't be doing because you're going to pay for it somehow or another the next day. There's a time and a place, right? But this idea that, I was in London and at 3 a.m., I wasn't drunk, wasn't high, wasn't, being a wild man in London. We don't know how old he was. We don't know when this was. There's so many questions I have when a guy like this puts out a story like this, because I want to know everything about, you went to London? You saw something at 3 a.m., just like you hear about in all of these books that you've read? So again, like, compared to what he said, replying to Kurt, like they put themselves in this fantasy, you do the exact same thing. You're literally talking about yourself.
He was just pulsing with like some sort of electric fire, like nothing I'd ever felt before.
Okay.
And feel it, but hear it and feel it from the tip of my toes to my fingers. Whole body.
He could be describing an experience taking mushrooms, LSD, cocaine, who knows? Who knows? Like, this is not and it's also not something original. Like, we've heard this or have read this and seen this in books and movies and television.
Body. And right as I woke up, it wasn't even words. It was more like but it was clear. It was the words, "This is how you connect." And it went on for about 15 seconds. And then I just said, whatever, stop. This has got to stop.
Well, this is how you connect? Did they just keep saying it over? Okay. This is how you connect. That literally took me maybe a second to say. So it said it 15 times. This is how you connect? Did you have a pair of headphones maybe around your neck? I don't, and audio came through it, you know, and you thought, oh, because you were hitting the sauce or something at 3 a.m.? Or were you sleeping? Like, so many questions. So many questions. And then he tells the mysterious voices, stop. So they stopped. Okay, go on, Gary.
And it stopped. So I was clearly awake. I had control over it. But again,
so he was clearly awake. He had control over it. Okay.
Where did this voice come from? I mean, maybe it was a dream. You know, the voice was.
So which one was it? Were you dreaming or were you awake? Which one was it, dude?
A dream voice of some sort.
A dream
but the feeling
voice.
Was not. I'd never had any feeling like that before.
Okay.
And interestingly, the next evening, it happened again at about the same time, but only a very fractional sense of it. You know, so I came back and I asked Jacques, I said, what could that have been? And he said,
he came back and he asked who? Jacques Vallée. Literally, you think George Knapp is not the godfather of ufology. He is the consigliere. Jacques Vallée is the godfather of ufology. And there might be, just like in any mafioso situation, there's a couple of godfathers in different parts of different territories. We'll just say territories. And the fact that the first person, the PhD immunologist that's got his name on a building at Stanford goes to is Jacques Vallée. It should be a massive red flag for anyone who's looked into the work of Jacques Vallée, especially his latest work, where he refuses to acknowledge that the story he's endorsed with his name is completely wrong and fabricated and based on a lie. But that's the first guy this dude goes to. It's a belief system. It's a belief system. And I'll be damned if you don't think that that belief system doesn't work its way into the SALT conference, interviews with Tucker Carlson, moments where you show up in Twitter spaces, the back at, you know, the declarations that you make, like, you know, we should strip Neil deGrasse Tyson of his PhDs because he doesn't believe what you're saying because there's no evidence for it. I mean, we know Nolan loves jumping to conclusions. Flarky, I see your question here. Just going through the chat here, making sure I didn't miss anybody's question, guys. So Flarky says, they believe everyone and everything without evidence because to reject it would be to reject their own experiences. Yeah. And that's hard to do. Like, I will be the first to admit it. Because to reject these stories and these peoples and these narratives, you have to reject your experience at the same time. If not reject it, you definitely have to reanalyze it. And you have to accept that shit, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I'm remembering it wrong. Or maybe what I saw was a rare weather phenomenon. Like, you have to come to those conclusions. And the thing, like, again, like, if Twitter had existed at that time and I had gone and I had, told my story, I would have found a room of people that would have sent me straight down a destructive rabbit hole that Kurt Mungel's discussing, that he mentioned just a minute ago in this interview. It matters. Like, these moments matter, because when they're on a stage or they're at a presentation that's invite only, and the people in the audience are more excited than the people presenting, you've got a problem. You don't have a paradigm shift coming. You've got a scam. You've got a grift. You got whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to think of an old, like, you got bamboozled, An old 1920s sort of term. You got whittled fingered, kiddo. You got whittled fingered, and that's it. There's no truth here. So move along. I say go out west. There's a massive gold rush out there, but you're not going to find what you're looking for here. Steve Long. And guys, yeah, these don't have to be questions. If you got just a statement like Steve here, or even, where was the other one? Flarkey. There you go. Then do it. I'm trying not to miss it. It's not just an attachment to an experience. It's an attachment to being special. These people believe they're special and chosen because they had their experience. There's definitely a lot of truth to that. I thought my experience was, I guess you could say I thought it was special. I thought it was more rare, though. I didn't think I was special. I just considered myself lucky to have seen it. Like, wow, I actually got to see one. But I agree with you. I think a lot of these people do think they're special. And I think, and again, like, I'm thankful that I never went down the rabbit hole this deep, because, I think it's a lot easier to, again, not reject, but sort of have to revisit your experience, when you just see one. Experiencing an abduction or an encounter of the fourth kind, having marks show up on yourself that you don't know how they got there, that is a lot more difficult to say to yourself, well, that didn't happen. That's a lot more difficult of a rabbit hole to get yourself out of, especially when the only people you're listening to are people like Gary Nolan and Lue Elizondo and Dean Radin and Danny Sheehan and fucking whoever you want to put it, George Knapp, Matt Ford, Dan Zetterstrom, that UFO podcast. It doesn't matter. Like, that would be difficult. That would be so hard to pull out of. So like this idea that they're special. Yeah, that's when you think you're special or unique, or you think you've been chosen to be part of an experiment that transcends human DNA into another echelon of humanity. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to talk that person or get that person to see the light that you're shining down their rabbit hole, because it's so the light is not bright enough. It's just not going to reach them at that point. Honestly, it's difficult. But if, you know, for the folks that haven't reached that point, you know, that's why we're here. We're not trying to be an extremist of anything, a fanatic of anything other than the data. That's it. The data. And so far, we got nothing. Nothing. You know? And again, if you want to sit here and say, what are your abductions or nothing? Check out the reading list that we have down below and go do some research on human and alien abductions and how that happens and how that manifests in the human mind and how the human mind can create things like scarring or memory or time loss. Memory and time loss. Your mind is a powerful thing. And if you don't have a good system around you to talk you down when you get, or at least tether a rope to you, so when you get too deep down that hole, they can pull you back a little bit, you know, like Kurt describes. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's just it's a slippery subculture. How did you like the movie Underwater? I don't think I saw a movie called Underwater. Did you send me a link? I don't think I saw that. Hi, then a mug says, hi, Lou. Do you know what happened to Kraft Beard? He had the best spaces and now he's on X and has gone away. Any way to get a hold of him? We're actually going to have him on the show. We're going to talk about it. I was supposed to have him on in this last couple weeks. My schedule has been crazy and I haven't been able to commit to show times. But once I get my schedule for the next couple weeks here, I'll be able to set a time and date to have him on the show and we're going to go through it. But basically, yeah, the community ate him alive. They ate him alive, chewed him up, and spit him out. They cry and they crave and they say they want skeptics and they say they want the level-headed skepticism. They just want to be treated with respect. And Kraft did all of those things. And he got to a point where he's like, I can't rationalize with irrational people. Eventually your patience dries up, no matter how well trained you are. This is an onslaught of endless, mindless, mind-numbing zombies that when you give them a solution or an answer to something, the immediate rebuttal is, yeah, but, instead of, oh, you answered my question, you disproved what I thought was fact, I'm going to hit you with a, yeah, but what about this thing? You can only go so far with that kind of logic. That's why you don't have scientists and clinical psychiatrists and, biologists. You don't have any of the science or medicine hanging out in UFO forums, because it's like banging your head against a fucking unbreakable piece of adamantium. It is infuriating. And he left. He just straight up left. You know? And I get it. I've been there. It takes a special breed to be able to ignore that and not care what they think. Not care that they're talking shit about you. not care that they're flipping narratives 15 different times for 24 out of the 24 hours a day and the 365 days a year in these spaces. They cannot exist. And it's wild because they did exist before these spaces were created, but now that these spaces exist, they are trapped. It is like quicksand. Once you're in there, you're not getting out clean. And yeah, it sucks. Because I was the one who introduced craft beer to the community. I thought he would be a great voice, and I amplified him. I brought him on my show, and I encouraged him to do more spaces and talk to more people. But I also warned him, like, you're gonna hit a wall, and when you do, it's gonna suck. Because like craft, I come into this with a genuine curiosity. But the curiosity has been worn down to a nub. And now I'm just critical of it. And I'm waiting around for some actual data. Really what I'm waiting around for is the moment where we actually get to see the technology. Because it's coming. At some point, we're going to see something really cool that the military puts out or has to use in some sort of wartime situation. I think drone swarms are the future of warfare. I think it's going to get really scary. There's going to be a lot of growing pains when it comes to drone warfare. This was well, let's listen to the rest of this, and then we'll get to our other clips as well.
Well, maybe it was a Kundalini event or something like that. So I went and read about Kundalini. Never heard of it before. It didn't seem to match any of that. But it was an experience, if you will, that I can't explain. Have a completely normal physiologic basis. My next door neighbor is the chairman of psychiatry at Stanford. And so she sees everything. And
That's
I spoke
useful.
with her. Yes, he's useful. So she says, no, that doesn't fall into any of the frameworks of things that we hear about.
That's not what you want to hear.
Exactly. I was like, damn, maybe you should have told me I ate too much Indian food or something. Which
I'm known to
I do when I go to London. First thing I do is I head to the Indian
smacking that Indian food
in Soho.
You should ask them.
Yeah.
You should ask them. Jesus, dude. Like, yeah. So I knocked
had
on my
some
door
experience.
of
I
my
won't go into it
psychiatrist
here,
friend that
and
I
it's not a
work with.
phenomenon. Well, maybe. I don't.
And she's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Never heard of it before in my life. You're gonna have to trust me on that one, bro. But that's what I would trust me. That's what she said. That's what she said. It was just a really interesting. I don't know if let me bookmark this. I love it. Like, Average Chris always sends me shit. He's like, dude, he always messages me like, you gotta see this. And I love retweeting everything that he puts out there. But we'll talk about it here in a second. So there was this clip here of Lue Elizondo. And it's titled, Lue Elizondo won't say whether the government has killed people for leaking classified information about UFOs. Quote, they can do whatever they need to protect national security, and they will. Elizondo declined to say whether he's referring to the CIA. And this is just a funny clip. And again, we're going to hit our fair use banner. Fair use is transformative work. We're educating the public on the clip that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. I'll also just put half the video so that way it's even safer, but let's listen to this.
The government is in possession of material, exotic material that doesn't look like it's made by us.
Has there ever been anyone say
the government is in like, this is great. Like this line right here, if it were true, would put him in prison. Straight up, would put him in prison. The government is in possession of material.
The government is in possession of material, exotic material.
Exotic material that doesn't look like it's made by us. Just because it doesn't look like it's made by us doesn't mean it's not made by us. I've given so many examples of this on this show. I want to dive into 10 of them right now. But for the interest of just rehashing shit, like, just, there's so many technologies that people confuse for alien. If you had seen fiber optics before it hit the shelves at your Best Buy in a 5.1 digital surround sound system, you would have thought it was fucking alien. Wait, information travels on a beam of light? What? So, again, like, they say these things that sound amazing, but they're not saying anything.
That doesn't look like it's made by us.
Has there ever been anyone sent to jail because they've spoken about this subject matter?
Worse.
Has anyone been sent to jail because they've discussed this subject matter? Worse. Okay, give us a name. Who? Who has been sent to jail or worse? Look how serious he is. Worse.
Worse. And that story has yet to be told.
And that story has yet to be told. How fucking motherfucking convenient. This dude is like, bow, 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 with your fucking questions. Whoop-ah, 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 whoop-ah. Ooh, hit you with a trust me, bro. That story's coming out. It's yet to be told. But yeah, people have gone to prison over this. It's a fucking... Oh, dude. How did I fall for this guy's bullshit? Let me tell you how. It's the same reasons with what we started the show with. I came into it with a belief system and an experience, and I overlooked the simplest things this guy was saying out loud that are so stupid. But it happens. It happens. Take it from a guy that it happened to.
Yes, there are people who have had faced extreme disciplinary actions and potentially worse.
Disciplinary actions is not worse than federal fucking prison. That is so stupid.
And potentially worse.
The death penalty?
I'm not going to elaborate right now.
No, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. But it's going to be worse, bro. You're going to have to trust me. You have to trust me on this one. It's going to be worse. Huh? By the way, this is from the Stephen Bartlett show. Never heard of this show. And I'm sure this Stephen Bartlett has done zero fucking research on this guy. Like all hosts, all these crypto bro hosts. Or they know exactly what's happening and they just don't ask the fucking questions because those questions don't get the clicks or the repeat back of the guy who gets you the clicks.
Because there's some things happening to try to... This is why Congress is working hard for whistleblower protections, because we want people to feel safe to come out and have a conversation.
There are already whistleblower protections for people in reverse engineering UFO programs. They're there. So if you're in a program and you haven't reported to Congress yet, you're actually in violation of the law. If you work in a secret access program and you have not told Congress about it, especially if it's a secret access program that Congress doesn't know about, that's being funded illegally, You are required by Congress to tell them. So you're breaking the law. You're actively breaking the law. Now, would there be any actual repercussions for something like that? I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm sure the shit would roll downhill to some low-level executive. But I don't know. It'll probably never happen, so we can never really say.
And right now, they don't feel overly safe. They've seen some of the tactics and techniques that were applied to try to keep people quiet in the past. Let me say this in general terms. People say, oh, well, the government would never kill anybody to protect a secret. Try going to Area 51 and look at the signs on that chain link fence where it says lethal force authorized. You cross that fence and they can kill you dead. Okay? So the government can, under certain extreme cases, under certain extreme situations and conditions.
Yeah, but if you're just one asshole crossing over the border at Area 51, and by the way, there have been people who've done that. They've actually gotten past the guards. They've gotten pictures of Area 51. They've gotten caught. They've gotten in trouble, but nobody's been killed. Nobody's been killed. The use of force is authorized. I'm sure if they saw, if Storm Area 51 was an actual thing of legitimacy, oh my God, that was just the saddest fucking event when I think of that. Just so sad and so funny. And the Rolling Stone article about Jeremy Corbell highlights the sadness of that entire thing beautifully. And Jeremy Corbell thinks it's like, that's like a fucking resume notch for him, that article. That article roasts him. It roasts him. And how stupid his belief systems are. And it also, like, the ending of that article is just like, oh, and by the way, this guy takes a lot of fucking mushrooms. Like, a lot. He even offered them to me, the journalist. But we've got Flarky here who says Lue Elizondo uses his veil of official secrecy very well. You ask a difficult question and he pulls his national security out of his pocket. LOL. We got a $2 donation. Oh my. We also got a new member for 15 months. Holy shenanigans. Okay, so the Bad Kitty says, why do you think he canceled the remaining tour dates? We are going to get there. We're going to get there probably here in the next 15, 20 minutes. I promise you, we will get there. I think I've got a really great reason as to why, and it's super simple. It's really simple, but we'll get there. That's a Bad Kitty, I promise you. Complicit with, 15 months. Holy shit, dude. Thank you. We've got 75 whistle throwers in our amazing chat over here right now. Yeah, Chewbacca of remote chewing. I love it, man. Dude, thank you so much. What an incredible donation. Seriously, I appreciate you, Complicit. Seriously, thank you. Thor Pinku, did you LOL? Okay, so. All right, let's get to some other... Oh, wait, we're not done with this part. Yeah, let's listen to what else he's got to say.
They can do whatever they need to do to protect national security, and they will.
So scary.
Which department is that?
I cannot go into that.
Cannot go into it. Yeah,
because people think of it as maybe the CIA or something, but
I can't elaborate, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. It wouldn't be the CIA. It'd be the Department of Energy. We've said it a billion times on this channel. If there are reverse engineered alien spacecraft, the CIA does not fucking have them. It's the Department of Energy. They've had nuclear engines on their submarines and aircraft carriers for over 2 decades now. And that technology is just this year hitting the free market in a Rolls-Royce nuclear engine that we've talked about on this show. And that was a cool day. That's the kind of stuff I'm waiting for. Seriously. All right. Next Lue Elizondo clip. This is interesting, and this kind of leads into your question. That's a bad kitty. And this is the reaction. Now, Reddit.
The way this got into his hands.
Reddit is look, I tell you, I did not, even at my earliest stages, was kind of looked at on Reddit as, can't trust this kind of guy. And they didn't promote or really talk about a lot of my stuff. I think one of the mods loved the first Big Phone Home, was helped me promote it. And then after our stuff, they're huge Lue Elizondo believers. Our UFO Reddit chat, or whatever you want to call it. This whole immaculate chandelier, which I love that people are adopting the immaculate chandelier. I love that. So keep on with that. But the immaculate chandelier had it looks like a pretty big effect on the core, on a good number of core Elizondo believers. And this is a collection of all of some of the reactions to the immaculate chandelier. So let's listen to these.
The way this got into his hands and the fact he basically did zero vetting of the photo really is not great.
Why wouldn't you fact check and analyze before presenting that, though? It's such a bad look.
He didn't do the bare minimum of reverse searching the picture and seeing it's from a boomer's Facebook. Didn't look closely enough to see it's a reflection. This guy is supposed to have investigated UAP for the Pentagon.
Right.
El Mao.
Now he and Greer have both posted bogus photos.
Right. It's like, she makes such a great point. Like, and it goes to the point of orbs flying in his house while he was part of A-Tip in OSAP. It's so silly.
Now they
how does that guy get this that wrong? How does he get it that wrong?
both look like grifters. I have zero doubt they are both grifting.
Am I glad he responded and apologized? Yes. Does this also make me wonder even more about his legitimacy? Also, yes.
This just further perpetuates the narrative that he is a misinformation patsy, likely unknowingly spreading misinformation.
And again, that's something that had 390 upvotes. This one has 250, this next one. Complicit. Lou brother, I've already been a member for 15 months. It will be forever. Dude, I love it. Here's an actual dollar dono. I appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it.
I mean, thanks and all, but I canceled my ticket to one of his speaking events because of this. It was a 2.5-hour drive, and I was going to do it. But I'm not going to go all that way just to be shown a lamp, because Mr. Classified somehow has the same boomer brain as my Facebook grandparents.
Damn, again, that one had over 260 upvotes. This one has 292 upvotes. And that's someone saying, who I bought a ticket for this, and I'm not going. I got a refund. And that's going to lead into what we're talking about. Let's get through the rest of these.
Never trust a guy with a soul patch.
Wake up, guys. Luis is cooked. The latest clanger proves it.
This guy's supposed to know better. This guy's supposed to have the goods. This is brutally compromising. Debunkers couldn't have staged it better.
Yep. I mean, again, this has 881 upvotes. This guy's supposed to know better. This guy is supposed to have the goods. This is brutally compromising. Debunkers couldn't have staged it better. This is the whole thing that believers really better get through their skulls. Debunkers and critical thinkers don't have to stage anything. It is only a matter of time before idiots like this paint themselves into a corner where it's the only conclusion you come to is, holy shit, this guy is a compulsive liar. And it's going to happen with all of them because all of their stories are based on conjecture and hearsay, not facts. And that's why they get angry when you ask questions, real questions.
This, the backyard thing, and the remote viewer abilities. 3 strikes, you're out. It's so hard to hold on to this stuff. Hoping these people aren't phonies and it is so easy for them to dash it to pieces. Liars and charlatans.
Lue and his friends think it's real for years, and X debunks it in one night. This doesn't track Lue, and the fact that it happened makes everything you say beyond suspect.
I do not understand.
And here's the thing. A lot of the people on Reddit have no idea what Twitter has revealed about this guy. I heard that in a space today. Like, the people on Reddit have had no clue that this guy has done some of the things that he's been linked to. And they're coming to the realization. They're starting to understand. They're starting to get it. There was something else I want to say, but I'll think of it in a second.
And how anyone at this point can buy what he's selling so easily. I listen to Lue, but I think it's important for people to understand that he's a very controlled drip of information, or potentially disinformation.
I got to the point where I don't even care like I used to. I feel like these talks abti the government officials coming out and talking seemed promising, but it's like they're gonna keep edging us forever and never come out and admit anything.
Again, because there is nothing to admit. The only thing they would have to admit would be new tech that they don't want to tell you about. Okay, so that leads into this. Okay. Chris, again, it's a message I got from Chris. And he wrote, breaking update, a few days after Lue Elizondo was caught showing fake images of UFOs during one of his paid ticketed events, he has moved his Jacksonville and Evans dates back to 2025 due to recent scheduling conflict. Let's see here. Due to scheduling conflict, maybe to update his UFO images. So he's canceled his Jacksonville show and his Evans, Georgia show. So he also clipped it. This is what Lue Elizondo, this is a statement from Lue Elizondo. Hey everyone, due to a recent scheduling conflict, we will be moving the Jacksonville and Evans talk dates to early 2025, where we will also be adding more dates around the country to continue the disclosure discussion with the U.S. public. Ticket holders from the Jacksonville and Evans dates will be reached out to with new dates or the option of a full refund. And I've heard he's been getting cooked in the comments on this one too. I've heard people are not getting refunds or emails offering refunds. Now, to answer the question that we had earlier from That's a Bad Kitty, why do I think he's canceled these remaining tour dates? Well, these are the only ones that he has for this year. And I think that he's afraid of a couple of things. First of all, he has to get a whole new presentation. Because if that's just one photo, imagine the other photos that he has in this presentation, and there are others. I think he's afraid that somebody's going to come in with a pair of glasses that has a camera in it and is going to record the presentation and put it online for everyone to dissect and brutally show how much bullshit this guy is chucking to paid ticket holders and dinner recipients. Okay, he has to change his presentation, and he doesn't have the time to get it done by November 8th, which is in 4 days. And he's probably not going to get it done by November 7th and 8th, back-to-back dates. Yeah, he's not getting those done. It's just not going to happen. So that's why he's canceling. I also think it's in combination with, of people just canceling their tickets, saying, hey, I want my money back. I'm not willing to pay $150 to go listen to a guy show me pictures of fucking chandeliers. I think that's why. And so what he's going to do is he's just going to shut up and disappear for a little bit, and hopefully people forget about it. And something new, like, I don't know, a hearing will come up that he can then piggyback on, rewrite his bullshit presentation, and take it from there. I think that's what's happening. Like, it's so simple. It really, really is. There's no conspiracy here. I heard a lot of different reasons as to maybe why. But I mean, even this excuse, and let's just break down this excuse here. Okay, like, to cancel an event 4 days before you're supposed to do it is a really fucked move. And to have a scheduling conflict, to put that on a scheduling conflict is so astronomically fucking stupid, and shows you that he doesn't have a good PR team, that he doesn't have a PR team. His PR team is his wife. That's his PR team. And I think they're using the excuse of, oh, we double booked something, so we're just going to cancel this one and do this other thing because it's a great opportunity, whatever the reason is. It's so fucking disrespectful to the people who paid the money to come see you. You're not Taylor Swift. It's not like you're sick. It's not like somebody died. It's a scheduling conflict. That means you fucked up. At best case scenario, you fucked up your schedule. People bought plane tickets. People bought hotel rooms. People bought the tickets to the event. They took time off of work. And you're canceling because of a scheduling conflict, or because you're scared that your entire presentation is going to be taken and put online for everybody to dissect and roast you like a fucking pig on a fire. Because I have a feeling that's exactly what would happen if that whole presentation at that dinner was put online. There'd be so many examples of immaculate chandeliers. I guarantee you every fucking photo he has in that presentation could be Google reversed imaged, just like that one. Or it'll be some goofy bullshit thing that doesn't match the location or the time period, and he's going to couple it with some fantastical bullshit story about pilots and lawmakers and how integral he was to making sure that the legislation was put in place to protect us before we tell you these monumental secrets. It's such horseshit. It's such horseshit. So due to a scheduling conflict, we will be moving the Jacksonville and Evans event talk dates to early 2025. No specific dates, no times, none of that. Where we will be adding more dates around the country to continue the disclosure discussion with the U.S. public. Listen, guy. Listen, publicist. You don't have to charge people $150 to continue the disclosure discussion. You could do that in a Twitter space. You've got over 100,000 followers. I can't see because you've blocked me, but it's a lot. I do know that. You can, if you wanted to, you can continue to interact with the public all day, every day for free, and do it more effectively than you are right now. Right now, the only people that get access to you are the people who are paying $150 a fucking dinner and sometimes more. We looked at the seating arrangements on our last show and the ticket prices and the potential money he makes just from one show. Dude, you guys are always like, why? Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would they do this? Why? Money. 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 Attention. Fame. A sense of importance. Like, everything that I think a lot of people deep down inside would love to have themselves one day. Whether they want to admit it or not. No, it's not for everyone. But a lot of people do want that attention. That's why reality TV exists. Those people think they're famous. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works. Also be adding more dates. So yeah, again, like, from what we understand, let's read some of the comments. This is Michael Huntington. How is that a scheduling conflict? That is a retooling of the lecture, not a scheduling issue at all. I hope he isn't being disingenuous. Someone else writes, Alex Bogue writes, I'm so amused by his calling it, quote, the disclosure tour. Disclosing what? Have any of them disclosed anything? Let me answer that. No, they haven't. Not a fucking thing. They haven't delivered on one promise and they haven't disclosed a single fucking thing. Other than just telling stories and showing unverified and obviously unvetted photos, they definitely have accomplished that. What the hell are they doing except giving the conspiracy addicts their paid fix? God, what a beautiful way to put it. You got to pay to get your fix. What a racket, writes Michael. The theater holds 650 in his Dallas appearance, and I'm guessing only 100 gullible people will buy tickets, but who knows? Maybe there are more gullible people than I realized in Dallas. If he sells out the show, that's $22,000. $22,700, almost $23,000. That doesn't include drinks, and like, I'm sure it covers dinner, but I promise you, they're not giving you drinks all night for free for $150. You got to pay for drinks, and drinks is where the restaurant makes their money. Not bad for making up stories. I agree. I'm interested to know how last night's show went. Anyone get a video? Lue jumped the shark. He made a mistake. To his credit, he acknowledged it and he apologized. It's unfortunate, but he handled it the absolute best way he could have. It doesn't make him a liar, in my opinion. We all make mistakes. Except no. Except no. The only reason he handled it that way is because he had no other option but to. That's the only thing he could have done. And guess what? It wasn't good enough. And here's the other part. It's not the first time. It's not the first time he's been on a stage pointing at a picture saying this is relevant, and it turned out to be not. He did it at the To the Stars Academy presentation when him and Mellon had balloons, party balloons, pitching them as UFOs. He did it. We have another video here. I'm trying to remember the other instance he did it. When he was presenting a fake video and a fake photo of the famous DC UFO flyover that happened in like the 50s. I want to say 54, but I could be wrong. It's just, dude, it's really funny, man. It's really funny. This isn't the first time he's done this. But let's listen to, is this a clip here? Oh, okay. This is breaking. Early reports that refunds are not being issued for Lue Elizondo's canceled show on the road. Other participants who bought tickets are reporting losing hundreds of dollars in hotel and airfare that is non-refundable because it was canceled days before. You can't really see what these guys are saying in this post. Yeah, this is great. Elf for Truth says, gotta give people time to forget. And that's, again, that's the thing, is it doesn't matter what lies they say, because you guys are going to forget. You guys are going to forget. In 2 days, something else is going to happen where this just goes bye-bye in your memory and in your consciousness. But I'll remember this shit. I remember this shit. I'm not going to forget. Higher Than a Mug says, hey, come on, man. It's going to take some time to go through all of the Secure Team 10, Redstone, and Third Phase of Moon fake UFO videos for new credible UFO videos that no one can debunk. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it, dude. It's so funny, man. Okay. Let's see here. So, yeah. So that's my opinions on Elizondo and everything that's going on with him. You know, I didn't want to make this whole show about it or focus on it, because it's just like, dude, we've been talking about this asshole since his book has come out ad nauseum. Like, it's so much, but he's the guru. He's the voice. He's the face. He's the man right now. Right. So we got to talk about him especially when he gets caught in lies, and he gets caught in lies, especially these days, quite a bit. So this is interesting. Marieke von Kloppenstick is up to his old bullshit again, going after Mick West, and he just does not stop. He's the most insufferable asshole online. He's been debunked by his own experts. I have a video of that on this channel. Please go watch it. It's Mick West, Marieke von Kloppenstick, and then a gimbal expert that Marieke found, basically telling him, yeah, no, everything Mick just said is absolutely right and plausible, and more likely than what we're seeing is an alien spaceship from another planet. And so there's Marieke is come out and says glare is not a basic artifact from infrared systems. A top infrared expert exposed how Mick West misled his audience for years. Despite this, West refuses to admit that he was wrong, nor will he remove content still promoting his debunked theory. And then tags Arrow. What an asshole. Mick West writes, once again, Marieke is using anonymous sources giving opinions based on limited real information, sources who don't actually want to be quoted. The primary observations that point toward gimbal being a rotating camera artifact are still in the video and still have not been explained away. And also there is, you know, like this idea, like this is not my editing. Like people accuse him of editing. He's like, I don't add dramatic music and spooky sound effects. It's a clip from a Nova documentary, and they remove the word with, which changes nothing. The clip is of a Snoopy team leader videoing some stars while talking about the visual of drones. And I guess this Nova thing came out. I want to... Yeah, I gotta check that out. Maybe it did come out. I'll check PBS, see if it's up. So, yep, there's that. Also, we've got, and this is great because this is perfect because here's a picture of the idiot that runs this account, the Disclosure Memes account, the Fettuccine Split, who's been banned from Twitter multiple times. He's known to harass people and flame the fires of extreme behavior within the subculture of UFOs. And then he's here making memes and cover art for the interview for Matt Ford and the interview he's doing with George Knapp. So just interesting. But this was an interesting thing that was said in a Twitter space. And I wanted to just play it for you guys because I thought it was interesting. So this is from the King Milford Harassment Archive and says, Twitter executives participate in hashtag UFO hate group harassment. Executives at Twitter have personal relationships with serial harassers of the hate group and assist them in getting their accounts unbanned. After Uplifting Tweets was banned for confessing to buying bots to harass severely ill cancer patient Brian Johnson, he got unbanned through the help of a high-level executive. So let's listen to this.
This information that people are receiving and they're blocking, and you have people like Satanic and King Milkfart that come out of the woodwork that just I mean, we're talking relentless. I mean, I got King Milkfart canceled maybe 6 times. I got his account taken down 6 times. And this guy just keeps bouncing back. Like he either.
You know, they have a family member. Uplifting Tweets has a family member who's an executive at Twitter.
Yeah, imagine
who
that.
Personally helps her get banned.
Yeah.
And here's a little story for y'all. Y'all might remember me and Tupa's little.
Again, these are stories. These are stories. Consider the source, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Story with Keemstar. One of the things that really blackpilled him about all this shit was that.
And this is a story I actually believe, because even though Keemstar and I have had our issues, and boy, oh boy, he's a piece of work. And it's funny, again, how he's disappeared from this discussion. And he fired both Tupa and Red, and the Skyfire News thing has been disbanded. It no longer exists. It's funny. After the differences that we had, you know, the thing that King Milkfart does is he takes advantage of a YouTube loophole. And the loophole is basically like, you can't take personal photos of people and make a thumbnail with it. Right? So even though you took the picture from a show, a podcast that he was on, where he's showing his face publicly, he's been known to harass people publicly. He's been banned from Twitter at least 6 times for harassing people. And if you even take that photo and use it in a thumbnail, YouTube will give you a copyright strike. And it's impossible, almost impossible, to beat it. As a matter of fact, that's where Keemstar comes into this story, is Keemstar reached out to me and said, hey, I saw that this happened to your channel. The same shit happened to mine. I got a guy at YouTube that is going to help us beat this copyright strike. And I said, hey, listen, like, I know we've got our differences. I appreciate you reaching out. If you can help me out with it, great. But as far as I can see, and as far as I can tell, and the people that I've spoken to, it ain't gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna happen, no matter what you do. And he was super confident that he was going to make it happen. I was like, okay, well, if you can, cool. If you can't, no big deal. But I appreciate the effort, and I appreciate you reaching out, because I agree with you. I think limiting people's speech, especially in a scenario like this, or getting somebody's channel that they've worked their ass off for, taken down for something that I should be able to use. You know, he's a public figure. He's made himself a public figure. Whether he wants to admit that or not. And so, you know, you're posting your face in public spaces in interviews, you should be able to use those photos. But again, it's a weird loophole. But anyway, this particular story that he's about to tell about Keemstar, I happen to believe it rings true. But let's listen to it.
That he's had a contact at Twitter that's a high executive who he's called on for like a decade plus, whenever he needed some kind of Twitter thing happened, right? Like, this thing, can you get my account banned? Can we get blah, 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 right? Always worked out. Always 100% of the time. Uplifting Tweets admitted to using bot accounts to harass a terminally ill cancer patient, Brian Johnson. And Brian Johnson, by his own testimony, said he started getting harassed when he started questioning Lue Elizondo.
Yep.
He admitted that, gets his account taken down. Keemstar had actually contacted his contact to be like, hey, can you make sure this is good? And he's like, yeah, that's crazy that it got taken down. It's down. Boom, boom. Keem's back channel, me and Tupa like, yeah, we got it taken down, right, blah blah blah. And then a few days later, Uplifting Tweets is back. He gets a shout out by Corbell on Weaponized, and then Keemstar calls us and he's like flabbergasted. He's like, it's fucking real. Like, you guys are right. It's fucking real. And me and Tupa are like, what? What are you talking about? And then Tupa, do you want to maybe explain the rest of it? Are you there? What did he explain? Or what do you, take the audience back to that point in time too? So
Well,
you know what I mean.
it was bizarre, right? Essentially, botting is like the worst thing you can do on a social media site, on a platform, because it inflates or deflates the value of the company. So big deal. So it's the number one bannable offense. So it was kind of a no-brainer that he'd get banned. Then he shows back up. Suddenly his account's back. Everything's cool. He's back in. Corbell's celebrating it. Everyone's celebrating it. And then we got that call from or we I think at some point we tweeted it. We were posting about it. And sure enough, like that conversation with Keem, I'll never forget it. He's like, dude, I asked the guy, I have a contact at Twitter. I asked him, how did this account get unbanned? And the guy said, like, it's above my pay grade. Like
And this has never happened before in the 10 plus years he's been calling on this guy for random fucking Logan Paul bullshit, this bullshit, that. He's never been given an answer like, hey, this is above my pay grade. I don't know what's going on here. I can't help you. Sorry.
Yep. He said it's the only time. And that's when, because we were always pretty rational with Keem, you know what I mean? But that's where, like, there were moments where he's like, I don't really know if it's like, if it goes all the way up to the top, these guys are probably just a bunch of troll idiots. And the top wasn't that far, it just seemed like he wasn't really buying that, and rightfully so. He should be skeptical about claims like that, right? But then he did say, like, okay, it's real. Something, this is basically government stuff. There's no way that this happened, like Keem's Connect at Twitter is a guy who's been there since it was Twitter.
He said high up exec too. Like since
before
at least
it was X.
Like 2012, 2008, he might have even said he's been high up exec there. And he was told he's basically cautioned off. But that's a little side point, data point. But let's go to Area 503 real quick.
I want to state the obvious. There's no one that's been in these rooms over the last 3 years who doesn't know that there's been crimes committed. Now, just use the logical process of putting two and two together, folks. Senior executives at Twitter are actively involved in things that everybody knows are felonies and crimes, and they're not being stopped, and they haven't been stopped in 3 years. So there is an acknowledgement that senior levels of this platform know the fuck what's going on. Sorry, I said the bad word, but they know what's going on. And by passive condonement, they are allowing it to continue. It has affected people's lives. It's affected people here, and it's continuing. The fact that it's going on.
You call me crazy and Tupa for my theories. I feel like I've honestly been very tempered with my accusations. I don't really throw shit out there unless I'm like pretty sure of it and I have a bunch of data points for it. But even with the Keemstar thing, true. It was another one of those too. But how many times have there been moments where like we suspect it's this bad, and then we get an outside data point where we're like, oh fuck, it's like actually worse than we thought. Like Keem was like literally shook up. It was weird, and because he's like so bombastious or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? He's never like that, but he was like shook when he got this back because he was like, he went from riding high like we got it, we handled it, boom, my contact handled the hate group, to being told like, nah, like your contact ain't shit, and your contact actually can't even tell you what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean?
I mean, that is weird, dude. It's weird. It's weird. But again, I'd say consider the source, but it's interesting and it would make sense. I mean, how do these guys keep coming back? I mean, I know that there's tricks and ways to get to trick the app that you're. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that that Twitter is searching for like the computer that you're creating accounts from. They should be able to ban that. What's the word I'm looking for? Not the routing number. That's for bank information. But anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. It's just like, it's pretty, I gotta say, I'm kind of actually impressed with how much they're able to circumvent being kicked off of a fucking platform multiple times and still come back over and over and over again. No, not a VPN, but something in that vein, where it's just like one of these things where they can trick the website into thinking that it's a brand new person from a completely different IP. That's it, IP address. So yeah, so like there's different ways to do it. I mean, obviously you just change your email, right? You just use a ghost email address. Yeah, that's easy. But when it comes to bans, they usually do it through the IP. So it's very difficult. It's like, you got to be pretty savvy, I think, to circumvent that, I guess is what I would say. But this is the last thing we'll talk about. And then I'm going to get out of here because I've got a meeting tonight and some other things to do, like eat some food. I'm hungry. Ladies and gentlemen, the B-21 Raider stealth bomber. I remember this was one of the first things we'd ever talked about on this show. Anyway, so Chris says, otherwise, what people know as the TR-3B. The first rollout of the B-21 stealth bomber, the U.S. Air Force B-21 Raider stealth bomber, is described by its manufacturer as the most advanced military craft ever built. There is a minimum of 100 craft will be replaced in the U.S. fleet by the B-1 and the B-2 bombers. Range is classified. The crew, the aircraft can accommodate manned and unmanned operations. Yeah, so they ordered 100 of these things, and I believe most of them are drones. And each one of these has a price tag of $500 million. Right? So there you go. Let's see here. Large internal bay for long-range missiles, standoff missiles, B-61 gravity bombs. This thing entered service in 1997. It has 4 General Electric F-118-100 turbofans, and the unit cost is $1.157 billion. And that's 1998 constant dollars, with a payload of 18,144 kilograms. It was operational to the mid-2020s. Likely 2 to 4 Pratt Whitney F-135 turbofans. Unit procurement cost $639. 3B. So this was in reference to something that D. Dean Johnson put out. So D. Dean Johnson writes, the witness list has not been finalized yet, so I can't provide any definitive answers, but I've not heard about any potential witnesses that match Mike Disclosure's description. Rachel Partlow, communications director, rep for Tim Burchett, emailed to Douglas Dean Johnson. Mike Disclosure, November 2nd, says, quote, there will also be a former member of the U.S. Army Special Forces who will be testifying about a TR-3B encounter. He saw it on the ground in person and described it as a TR-3B. Tweeted later, he revised to, quote, will be testifying about a black triangle encounter on the ground. So Chris replied to this basically saying, yeah, it was the stealth bomber. And then here's a picture of where Mike Disclosure, which, by the way, who's a crazy person. We've talked about this guy, how he's connected to the Thomas Fessler channel, how people apparently he's bragged behind the scenes about looking up information on people using a criminal database, either through a police system, an FBI system, some sort of government or state run system, which is illegal to do. So if he doesn't like your UFO opinions, he runs your name through his system and he looks for criminal records. He looks for things to discredit you. And when he can't do those things, then he uses other tactics. He goes after family, he goes after friends, he goes after co-hosts, he goes after whoever. It's pretty disgusting. But the fact that I don't even know why Dean Johnson is even taking time out of his day to address anything this asshole says. But I guess he must be buddies with UFO Jesus. And so somehow it got to Dean Johnson, and he wanted to correct the record on this. And then once Dean probably said something, or he found out how stupid he sounded, then he changed it to he's just going to be talking about a black triangle encounter. It's just so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. But that's ufology. That's ufology. That's the subculture. That's what you guys are fighting for. With that said, you guys, I'm going to get the hell out of here. We're going to end the show about 20 minutes early. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all the questions that we had. Hey, catching up the last minutes. I have to do replay Spotify, Lou. Yeah, I've updated the Spotify. Spotify's up to date. It's all the episodes are on there. This episode will be up hopefully tomorrow. I got to work tomorrow, but it'll be up. So check it out. All it takes is a believer in a high position to get manipulated by the hero Elizondo, in my opinion. That's true. UT Smoke Blue, you need to forgive yourself for being suckered by a used car salesman from the movie True Lies. That was such a great part, dude. Why am I forgetting the name of the actor who did that part? Bill Pullman, right? Was it Pullman? Dude, so good. So good. So good. Best used car salesman maybe ever depicted on film. But yeah, I mean, maybe. But I think the reason why I highlighted so much Smoke is because I want to show my audience that it happened to me. Like, it happened to me, right? It can happen to you. It's happened to a lot smarter people than me. And so I think that's why I talk about it in the way that I do, just so people don't feel so bad. Because let me tell you, man, when you do come to the realization that your belief system was guiding your decisions and things that you said and things that you accepted, it's a very, it's a hard day. It's a hard day, you know, so, but if you've got the temerity and the moxie and the courage to do it, God bless you. You know, it's a hard thing to do. So, yeah, anyway. I guess I'm patting myself on the back a little bit there. What can you do? Pat Calabria, good night. You guys have a great night. Thank you all for coming to hang out. I know the schedule's been crazy and everything, but just know I try my best. And I love you all. So with that said, please don't forget to smack the like, share, subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you're notified anytime we go live. And if you want to support the show with the almighty dollar, of course, we got Patreon. We've got our super chats. We've got our memberships, which, by the way, thank you, Complisier. Thank you, Pinzer Lou. Thank you to my mod, Matt Riot. Thank you to everyone who donated. I truly appreciate it. Honestly, it is an honor. It's humbling every time you guys send me a with that said, thank you for embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and thank you for subscribing to Lue Reviews. Until next time, keep raising the bar. We'll see you guys. Peace out.